Hey, what's going on guys? This is ComputerMadMan here and welcome to the first episode of ComputerMadMan's Tech Experiences. So the first episode today is going to be pretty much the most important one. Today I'm going to be doing a sort of like my experience of my current laptop. This laptop here is actually the one that I use for I've done for all of my YouTube. And yeah, so the specs for this laptop are currently on the screen now, so pause the video so you guys can see it if you want to have a look at it. And so yeah, let's get into it. So this laptop right here is known as the HP 655. So it's HP 655. It's actually a Netbook laptop. It's not actually the full size of a laptop, and it's not actually the small size of a netbook. So it's actually kind of like a hybrid between a netbook and laptop, really. I've currently had it for about 4 or 5 years, something like that. I got it for Christmas. My mum bought it because we didn't have a computer. Well, she had a computer, but me and my sister kept going on it, and it was getting annoying, so she just bought this laptop. And yeah, this laptop's actually really quite cool. Currently got Windows 7 on it, home premium, but we're just going to go sort of around the edges, and I can just sort of show you like what there is on it. So here's the touchpad. It's not bad, works. Button here is a bit sticky, not going to lie, after constant use. This one's still fine, but that one just feels a bit sticky. Over here we've got the power, and then we've got the little Wi-Fi connector there, if that will focus. Yeah, we've got the Wi-Fi. Then on the left hand side we have two, you might not be able to see them very properly, but we've got a micro SD card reader. We've got a headphone and microphone jack, a USB port, a HDMI cable, Ethernet port, and over here at this very end is where the CPU, like the graphics card bit, is. So on this side, the card reader is a little bit dodgy. Like, what will happen is sometimes you'll plug it in and then it won't seem to read for some reason. You have to keep plugging it in and plugging it out all the time, and pulling it in, pulling it out, pulling it in, pulling it out, until it eventually does read. So something's dodgy with that. And over here, the USB port, I use that for my Turtle Beach headset, and then we've got the microphone and the headphone jack, which I use for the Turtle Beach headset as well. Then we've got the HDMI port, which I currently use my TV, because I sometimes like to play games on the big screen. Not hardcore games, just sort of like DS emulation or Genesis games and things like that. And the Ethernet port I don't really use, because obviously, you know, we've got that onboard Wi-Fi, so that's cool. And then we've got the graphics card, the VGA port. I've never used that in the lifetime we've had the laptop. I don't know why that's there, because I'd rather use HDMI because it's a lot better. And over here is the graphics bit. It's got like sort of the ventilation there. It's a bit shy at the moment. Like at the start it wasn't too bad when we first got it, but now it just literally goes like, you know, it just absolutely sort of like works its butt off, and the fan just goes, you know, so it just sort of gets like really noisy, and it's kind of annoying, to be honest. But we're going to get over to the right hand side now. Not much on here. We just got the power there, 2 extra USB ports, and DVD drive, which I'm just going to open for you now. Yeah, boy! So there's the DVD drive. We don't really use it. I've used it for The Sims before. My sister like installed The Sims 4 on it, but that's basically all we've sort of like used it for. Okay, and another part I forgot to mention is the fact that there are actually 2 speakers right on the front. You've got 2 sort of like right here, which are these little line areas here, and then also you've then got the other 2 over this side. They're not anything like super, they're just sort of like basic Realtek speakers. So I mean, they do the job, don't get me wrong, but you know, they could be better basically. Okay, so now we're just going to sort of move on to the display. So this has actually really quite a nice sort of thin border around the edge. It's thinner around sort of the edges and the top. It's got a little webcam on it as well, if you can sort of see it. Might have too much light in the background, that might be a bit better. But yeah, it's got a webcam and a microphone. The webcam's pretty much like garbage. It's horrible in low light. It is an absolutely awful webcam. It's just shite, really. And we've got these sort of nice like squishy pads on here, which is used to like close the laptop so the screen doesn't lean against here and sort of get scratched by the keys. So that's nice. So now moving over to the back. On the back, all we've got is the little HP logo and all that stuff. Then we've got some more vents on the back here for like heat and stuff. Nice little squishy rubber pads so the laptop doesn't sort of like move when I'm using it. And we've got the battery at the back here, which just it just pops out like that, basically. I know you guys are going to moan at me in the comments now because I've just basically pulled out the battery while it was still on, but I don't care. Actually, get the fucker in. There we go. Yeah, so that's the battery. The battery is pretty much like dead now as fuck. It really is. Like it just dies like super quickly. It just doesn't hold its charge very well much anymore. This one will usually last about 45 minutes. So it still sort of works, but it's a bit shite. So now I'm just going to sort of show you what I think of the actual laptop when you're using it itself. So as you can see upon boot, I actually have this laptop configured with my sister's account and my own account that requires a password. So okay, so I'm not going to go through like what I have sort of totally on this laptop, because I could literally go through everything of what I've got, but I'm just going to show you the basics. So sort of all my main programs I have all down here. So I've got obviously Internet Explorer, because that comes pre-installed. I've got Movie Maker, which I use to edit my YouTube. Soup Toys, which is like a toy box that you use to play on the desktop. Avast, which is an antivirus. Bandicam, which is what I use to record with. CCleaner for, you know, just basically cleaning out all the computer and all that stuff. Notepad, just because I find Notepad quite useful for jotting down, you know, notes and things like that. We've got Google Chrome, just because Internet Explorer can be a pile of garbage sometimes. Horizon, which is an Xbox modding tool. Don't really use that much anymore. And I've got this other one down here called HD. It's like a HD video converter type thing. Just show you some other things that are on the laptop. I've got a couple of like selfies over here. I've got some game ROMs, backups. I've got my YouTube folder right there. There's Mumi, which is a DS emulator. Some work, some extra folders, which is like Xbox, pictures. And I'm just going to go through my YouTube folder for you guys, so you guys can sort of see. So as you can see, it says ComputerMadMan. I've got intro as a folder, new channel thumbnail, banner, my videos, notes on my Movie Maker formats. I've got all my different series inside here. So I'm going to go over to, so if I go into tech experiences, currently at the moment you guys can see some of my video projects that I've done, how I made my intro, and I've got some thumbnails. So let's just carry on back. Then we're going to go over to tutorials. As you can see, I've got all my different tutorials in here. Some of them are in folders because they had sort of like project files, but most of them, as you can see, are all pretty much like separate basically. And altogether, I'm not too sure how big this folder is. Let me just have a look. Yes, altogether my YouTube folder is approximately about 3.77 gig. So it's quite big, but usually I tend to get my file sizes down really quite small, like roughly between 30-40 megabytes, because, you know, it will just take up too much space if the file sizes were that big. So I'm just going to sort of go over with how the mouse, keyboard and display all sort of perform before I end this video. So the mouse pad on here sort of performs really quite well, although occasionally it will sort of like glitch and bug out, like all of a sudden the mouse pedal stop working. There's nothing wrong with the buttons, like I say, apart from that one's just a bit sticky. And sometimes if this light here, this red, like kind of, it will light up red, meaning that the touchpad stop working, but I don't generally use a mouse. And then the keyboard here, this is a really nice keyboard. I love it. They're really silent keys. They press down really nicely. They've got a nice gap in the middle. So yeah, altogether the keyboard I absolutely love. I've had no problems with the keyboard at all. Okay, so now guys, I'm just going to go on to the display. Now currently at the moment I've got it on the lowest brightness, level, which is actually adjusted via the keyboard. So that one lowers the brightness, that one increases the brightness. But yeah, I only have it on the lowest brightness because the battery's absolutely shite. I don't like having it in full brightness because obviously firstly it like hurts my eyes, and then the battery, like I said about the battery as well. But I find that on the lowest brightness, even though it may not look like on here, when you actually use it, the colours are really quite dim. They don't have any sort of like vibrancy or anything like that, but as you can see, all the colour schemes are still correct. It's all still rendering all the colours like properly on the screen. And if I just whack up the brightness, as you can see, it really does get quite... But when you put the brightness all the way up, it does get really quite bright and vibrant, but I just find there's not really too much depth in the way it's displayed. So the display is not bad, but the lower brightnesses really do kind of like suck. Okay, so sort of like the general performance of the laptop netbook, like overall, is it works generally quite well. The performance of it can be really quite good. It takes a little bit to sort of get fired up once you first boot it, but most of the time, like I say, it runs pretty smoothly. But sometimes it can decide to be a real bitch. Like some days it will work absolutely awesome and it will be blazing through, you know, really fast speeds, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, you'll be on it a bit later or the next day, and then it will sort of really decide to, like, you know, stick its middle finger up in your face, basically. So the performance is kind of like a little bit sort of inconsistent. But generally, on the whole, the performance is very good. And so yeah guys, that is it. That is basically my story, or my tech experience of the HP 655. Currently still going to be keeping it, though it is still a pretty good laptop. I would recommend definitely getting it. It will be a lot cheaper now, since obviously you've got all these newer laptops that are out and they're all running Windows 10 and things. But at Christmas I'm actually thinking of going back to Windows 10. I don't know what I'm really doing with my life at the minute. One minute I want to go in Windows 10, then I want to go back to 7, then I want to go back to 10, and I don't know what to do, but I'm going to be going back to Windows 10 again, just because I kind of miss the features of Windows 10 and what it had. But yeah, that's basically it for the tech experience. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Stay tuned for my next episode. I'll see you guys then. Goodbye.